we're going to continue the lesson last time, the one that I recorded and the one that you have watched sa aking YouTube channel. So the title of the lesson for week 1 was the economic way of thinking. We started about this last time. We started on the course description, right? You can recall this one. We started the course objectives. We discussed the what can you get after the subject at the end of the sem comes October of this year. And I also rolled out yung topics to be covered for week 1. So we ended here last time. And to continue, ito naman learning outcomes, no? Don't be confused, no? Ang course objectives, ito yung objective ng subject. Kumbaga, for the whole semester, this is the objective. Pag sinabi naman nating learning outcomes, ito yung outcome para sa lesson na to. So, pag course objectives, isang beses lang yon, no? Pero pag learning outcomes, kung meron tayong 14 lessons, we also have 14 learning outcomes. So, for week 1, for this lesson, ito yung ating learning outcomes. So, I will take you responsible for this one. So specifically, at the end of the lesson, the student should be able to do the following. So we have 5 learning outcomes. We started manage relationships between upstream suppliers or downstream retailers. We are going to learn the market structure like the pure competition, pure monopoly, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, up to number 5. So I will take responsible for this one. So hopefully, no, you can gain this learning outcomes at the end of the lesson. Before I continue, pwede ba mag-request to subscribe dito sa aking munting channel. And I would like to thank in advance sa mga mag-subscribe. Okay, moving on. So let's define economic way of thinking. Examines how people make choices under conditions of scarcity and systems of production, consumption, distribution. Sa isang economy, if you are a businessman, di ba we defined last time, ibig sabihin ng microeconomics. That is the relationship of the person, individual, the household, and business. Yung kanilang interaction. Kumbaga yung details, yung nakakapaloob sa isang economy. The person, the household, the firms, and the family. Yan. Yan mga nag-interact sa mga isang economy. Example, may buyer, yung person, bibili sa isang company. Para sa cycle di ba? That is microeconomics. That is our subject. Now, may scarcity sa ating economy. If you are the person buying something, minsan may scarcity, meron kang kulang. May shortage of supply ng isang product na yung binibili. If you are the businessman, if you are the firm, meron din minsang shortage ng supply or raw materials sa yung binibili. Pag ikaw yung family, ganun. So may shortage. Hindi lahat ng raw materials ay available all the time sa isang systems of production. May kulang minsan. Example, if you are selling fried chicken, tapos nagkaubos na ng supply ng live chicken. So wala kang production. Nagkaubusan ng tinapay, ng buns. So pag may scarcity ng production, so merong scarcity ng distribution. wala kang i-distribute sa mga customers, yung person, individuals, tapos yung household. Pag wala i-distribute, siyempre mga buyers natin, mga buyers nyo, may scarcity na ng consumption. Wala silang mabibili, so they don't have something to consume. Pag sinabing consumption, yung mga products na kinukonsume, ginagamit, kinakain ng mga individuals and household like sugar, rice, coffee, so drinks, water, consumables. So may scarcity pag ganun. So in an economy, microeconomics provides a decision-making framework for individuals, firms, and policymakers. Now, pag merong scarcity, the individuals, the firms, pag sinabing firms, ito yung mga business, no? And the policymakers, pag sinabing policymakers, these are the government. Example, branches of government, like the TTI, the BIR, the Securities and Exchange Commission, yung mga local governments, sila gumagawa ng mga policy to address, example, kung merong scarcity. Yung production, consumption, and distribution sa isang local economy or national economy. So, ganun umiikot yung microeconomics. Mayroong interaction sa isang society pag sinabi nating micro. Economics. Bibili ka saan? Sa isang firm. Yung household, bibili sa isang firm. Tapos yung firm, yung kanyang kinita o revenue sa mga sold products, gagamitin naman niya yun sa pagbili ng mga supplies. Yung supplies, gagamitin naman sa pag-produce ng products. Yung products, ibibenta ulit sa mga customers or household. So, that is the circular flow sa isang economy. So, parang siyang umiikot lang. No? So, mayroong interaction. Ibig sabihin, an individual, a household cannot survive without the firms. Wala silang bibilhan eh. At the same time, yung company cannot survive without the individuals and the household kasi wala namang bibili sa kanila. So, merong interaction. Circular flow in an economy. So, paikot. So, I'm moving my slide. So, if you can read this one, so basahin nyo nga, sabay-sabay. Every society must answer 3 basic economic questions because of scarcity. Societies answer these questions differently, leading to a variety of economic systems. Okay, 3 basic questions because of scarcity. Sino mag-consume? Anong ipoproduce? Paano i-distribute? So may scarcity doon. Scarcity of consumption, scarcity of production, scarcity of distribution. Minsan, wala kang product na i-distribute. Minsan, wala kang taong magdi-distribute. So may scarcity of distribution. Or, sino magpo-produce? Sino mag-consume? Sino magdi-distribute? Kasi hindi palaging present, hindi palaging mayroong mga resources ang isang company. By the way, di ba, sa isang company, yung mga resources niya, yung mga machine, materials, power, tapos money. Yan. So, the second one, societies answer these questions differently, leading to a variety of economic systems. So, economic systems natin, presently, the economic system, for example, of the Philippines, that is capitalistic. Capitalistic system, no? Pag sabi economic system na capitalistic or pure capitalistic, kung sinong may capital, kung sinong may pera, they are free to enter the business. Pwede kang manegosyo kahit sino, basta meron kang capital. So, sa economy, depende kung anong klaseng economic system meron sila. Kasi hindi lahat ng countries ay pare-pareho ng economic system. For example, sa Korea, hindi naman lahat doon ay pwedeng magnegosyo. Sa Korea nga hindi lahat ay pwedeng magmay-ari ng sasakyan. Hindi lahat ay pwedeng magtayo ng negosyo. Hindi lahat ay pwedeng bumili. So iba kasi economic system ng North Korea. I'm talking about North Korea. Kasi may dalawang Korea, di ba? The North Korea and the South Korea. The South Korea medyo democratic na yun. Parang North Korea, that is socialist. Pag socialist na economic system, so iba yun. China, North Korea, Cuba, yan mga country na ganun. Madalang ang United States, example, the Philippines, Singapore, pero tayong pure capitalist economy. Sa ating mga types of economic systems, may extreme na talagang bawal, pero may extreme na talagang completely free magnegosyo ang kahit sinong tao. Okay, so may tao ko ba dyan? So, by the way, before we continue, ganun pa rin yung you may comment your name dito sa aking channel. I-comment your name that will serve as your attendance for today. And today is June 30, 2026. Baka may naliligaw dyan The subject is basic microeconomics, 3 to 4:30 yung ating time. Ayan, so baka may naliligaw dyan. Okay, so I'm moving my slide to the next one. 3 basic economic questions. Question number 1. What will be produced? Hindi tayo pwede mag-produce ng basta basically, pag meron ka negosyo, you cannot produce all types of goods na pwedeng i-produce. It depends on the market. Kung anong gusto ng market, yun ang ating ipoproduce. Ibig sabihin, you cannot produce na ikaw lang yung may gusto. Hindi pwede mag-produce na yung negosyante lang may gusto na mag-produce ng market, ng product. Walang bibili pa ganun. So what will be produced? Societies must decide on mix of goods to produce. It depends on their natural resources. So depende sa isang country kung ano yung kanyang pwedeng i-produce. Example, the Philippines has an agricultural economy. Sa ating pinoproduce, yung mga agricultural products. Coconut, rice. Para mga raw materials siya ng mga products na pinamanufacture ng ibang countries. Kasi agricultural tayo. Samantala ibang countries like Dubai, hindi mo pwedeng asahan ng Dubai na mag-produce ng mga agricultural products kasi wala naman silang agricultural lands doon. Example, Singapore, Japan. Mga electronics ang kailangan pinuproduce. Example, Japan. Pagdating sa technology, Japan is the most advanced when it comes to technology production. Sa China naman, daming factory. Kaya nga diba sa maraming products sa TikTok, Shopee, nagawa sa China kasi yun ang kanilang mga ginagawa doon. May dilis countries naman, of course, they are into fuel production, oil production. So, depende sa mga resources ng isang country. Sa Africa naman, may mga countries na mga diamonds naman, Mining naman yung kanilang mga products na pinoproduce. O depende sa natural resource. Kahit sa atin, di ba, locally sa Pilipinas, ang product ng isang society ay depende sa natural resources ng isang lugar. Example, Central Luzon, di mga palay, mga bigas ang kanilang production. Pagdating naman sa Jensan, General Santos, di tuna production. Pagdating naman sa Guimaras, di mga mangga, So, depende, no? Ano pang ano yan? Ano pang mga society na kilala o sa Romblon kasi they are abundant in marble. So, marble production, marble products ang gawa sa Romblon. Okay? Ano pang mga products ang ano? Alam nyo, isang province na they are abundant in one particular resources, then they are producing a particular type of product. Can Metro Manila, Mindoro, Batanes, Ilocos, bagit ako ng lugar, then you tell me, you think kung anong product ang para doon. Cebu, Bacolod, Mindanao, ano ba? Pag Pampanga kasi, mga pagkain doon, di ba? Anyway, sige. Some countries allow producers and consumers to decide kung anong product ang kanilang mga ipoproduce. Yung producer, they can produce kasi capitalist country, no? They can produce whatever they want. Minsan naman, the consumers will decide if what should be produced. Kasi pag negosyante ka, you should be doing market research. No? Anong gusto ng market? Yun ang iyong, anong gusto ng mga consumers? So they are asking the consumers. The businessmen are asking the consumers what product should be produced. Example, cellphones. No? You should ask the consumers, ano ang dapat klase ng cellphone na dapat i-produce? Anong klaseng variety? Anong klaseng, example, may mga negosyanteng nagpo-produce ng mga, example, turon, no? Ang flavor ng turon, dalawa lang. Then, nag-research sila na dapat walang dagdagan ng dalawa pang variant or flavor, yung kanilang turon. So, dumami yung kanilang nabenta. In other countries, like, I have been mentioning North Korea, mga socialist countries, no? They are parang dictatorship kasi. The government decide what should be produced. Kasi may mga countries na hindi capitalist. Hindi lahat ng tao sa ibang country pwede maggawa ng sariling product or magtayo ng sariling product. Kasi provided by the government kung ano ang kanilang ipuproduce. So parang walang freedom, no? Sa ibang country, North Korea, walang freedom yung mga tao magtayo ng negosyo. It is the government that produces the basic necessity na gagamitin ng mga tao. Must also decide how much to produce. So it depends on society's one. Parang so what you need is what you get. Walang sobra. Hindi pwede mag-produce ng marami. Kung ano lang yung needs ng isang society, hindi pwede mag-import. Yan. Ganun lang yung pwedeng i-produce. Parang wala silang freedom. Samantala sa Pilipinas, pag ikaw ay nagbebenta ng sample ng lechong manok, di ba? Depende siya kung ilan ang ibebenta mo, i-produce mong lechong manok. Walang pumipigil sa'yo, di ba? Or you are into tuna production, sardines production. Kung ilang gusto mo, yun, it can be produced. Pag sobra, sa local consumption, i-export. Ibang countries, hindi ganun. Okay, so let's go to question number 2. Kanina, Dito naman, question number 2, paano ipo-produce yung product? How will it be produced? Production decisions involve using resources efficiently. Societies adopt different approaches. So, paano pag hindi lahat ng resources ay available? Paano gagamitin yung mga resources? Example, sabi ko kanina, no? Sa isang business, the resources used are the manpower. So we have here the manpower. Example, isang factory. We have here the manpower. Paano ipoproduce yung mga product factory, by bulk ba yan? By bulk, mass production. Pag sinabing mass production, they can produce as many products as they want. In bulk. No? May naman tinatawag na mga customized production. Isang product is different from another product. So, for example, pag meron kang 10 product, isang product na iba-iba, that is customized. No? Pag sinabing mass production, yung 1,000 piraso ng product ay pare-pareho. May tinatawag batch production, by batch naman. Okay? Example, first 100, second 100, third 100. It can be produced seasonal. It can be produced, example, isang taon, 1,000 products. O pwedeng monthly ang production. Or how it can be produced, it can be finance privately, it can be finance by loan from a bank. Societies adopt different approaches. Saan po sa China yun? Napakaraming products sa China. Kasi ang daming tao. Siyempre ang population ng China, you can imagine, billions. So there are lots of workers in China that can work on factories. So maraming gumagawa. At mura, siyempre mura yung mga wages doon. Kasi sobrang dami ng tao doon. At napakatindi ng competition sa isang job. So, kung Chinese ka, sabi mo, sige, kahit mura yung sweldo, basta meron akong trabaho. So, ikaw yung businessman, you can pay them at a lower wage. Kumpara lang kang China, ay napaka-baba. Okay? So, pwede namang approach na subcon. Ibang you're the businessman and gusto makamura, pinapa-subcon mo, pinapa-outsource mo. Isang gumagawa ka ng television. Okay? Ibang parts, pinapa-subcon mo sa ibang company para mas mura. That is what we call outsourcing. Is certain example parts ng isang product. So moving on, I'm moving my slide. Okay. So recall natin mga questions sa isang economics. What will be produced? Number 1. How it will be produced? Number 2. Then number 3, for whom it will be produced. So, para kanino? Mga products na ginagawa ng isang business. How goods and services are distributed involves 2 questions. How should its person share be determined? Sa mga socialist country, like yun na sinasabi kanina, I have been mentioned North Korea as an example. Socialist country kasi. Sa socialist country, you cannot own more than what you need. Kumbaga, depende sa needs mo, ang bibigay sa'yo ng government. Example, rice, wala kayong family, so ganito lang, isa ako lang per month. Katarang sa atin, we can purchase as many as we want. Kung may pera ka, you can purchase like 5 sacks of rice. You can do hoarding pag marami kang pera. Pwede kang bumili na napakaraming products, napakaraming supplies. Mga countries hindi pwedeng ganon, no? Kasi controlled yung kanilang mga products. So, depende sa family, kung ilang family meron ka. And how should its person shared be determined. How will goods and services be delivered people? Sa atin, distribution, there are many ways of distributing products. You can go to the market, you can go to supermarket, groceries, it can be delivered to you. You can order that online. Kapag pagkain naman, di ba? If you want food, you can go to the resto. You can ask for delivery. You can order online. Yan, pwede kang mag-take out. Pwede kang dito. Not order. Tawag nila dito, not takeaways eh. Ibang pag-service naman, nag-usapan natin. Diba? Kasi ang product natin, pwede siyang product tangible. It can be intangible products like service. So, how services are delivered to people. Example, your businesses are providing you have a beauty parlor, but you will go to the salon to avail of the service. Pag consultancy naman na service, it can be done online, or you can go to the office in the person rendering that type of service. Ibang countries limited, example, per month lang pwede. Sa atin, anytime of the day, 24/7, you can avail of a product. What is the main characteristics? What are the main characteristics of a firm? We started with the micro, person, individual, the household, or the company, or the firm. So, tatlo. So, we're going to talk about the firm, or the company, or the business. The three main characteristics of the firm. The first one, ang firm daw is a collection of people inside an organization. Collectivity of people in an organization. So, di pwedeng tawagin firm pag walang mga individuals or person sa loob ng isang organization. So, depende na, pag sole proprietorship, yung tao doon, yung may-ari lang, isa lang. Pag partnership naman, pwedeng dalawa, pwedeng tatlo, yung may-ari. Example, partnership, tatlo silang partners, so tatlo, plus their employees. Pag corporations naman, malaki na to, di ba? Example, ang may-ari, 10, plus the employees. So, pwede siyang libo-libo. Pag ang partnership, pwedeng hundreds lang ang partners. No? Pero pag corporation, na maraming stockholder. Example, San Miguel Corporations. It has many stockholders na may-ari ng San Miguel. Maraming stock sila. So, inside the company, the persons, the individuals have different tasks. Kasi meron tayong tinatawag na specialization sa isang firm. May gumagawa ng marketing, may manager, may supervisor, may involved sa marketing, may involved sa finance, may involved sa human resource management, may involved sa production, may involved sa delivery, so, may involved sa research. So meron silang mga ginagawa sa loob ng company. Depending on the company, siyempre pag partnership in business, 5 lang sila. So, ang tawag natin doon sa mga may-ari, managing partner, capitalist partner, industrial partner. No? Pag isang company naman, so may CEO, may CFO, may CHRO, yan. May chief IT officer. Then sa ilalim may mga managers, no? Different level of managers. May senior managers, may junior level managers. Then sa ilalim may mga supervisors. Sa private companies naman, yung mga rank and files naman sa pinaka ilalim. Pag government naman yung company, yung mga director, tawag natin, director, section head, ayan, tawag natin sa kanila. Secondly, action by superior subordinate direction. Sa isang company, may employer, may employee. Meron din mga superior subordinate direction. Example, pag may supervisor, sila yung superior. Tapos sa ilalim, mga rank and file, mga tao niya, those are the subordinates. Pag may manager naman, so of course the manager is the superior. Yung mga bisor, yung mga subordinates. Pag may vice president, example, vice president for operation, vice president for finance, siya rin mga superior naman. Yung mga subordinates, yung mga managers naman. And of course, you have the CEO, the Chief Executive Officers, the Chief Operation Officers. Sila yung mga superior. Sa ilalim, yung mga Vice President, the managers, the visor, sila yung mga subordinates. So, sa isang accounting naman, sa isang department, example, accounting department, yung chief accountant, he is the superior. Tapos sa mga accounting clerk, sila yung mga subordinates. Pag sa academe naman, example, yung dean, yung college dean ang superior, yung mga program head naman yung subordinates, or pwede mga program head ang superior, yung mga professor naman ang subordinates. Yan, sabay relationship na kasi merong hierarchy sa loob ng isang company. Okay. Sa isang company, sa isang firm, merong continuity over time. Pag sinabing continuity, ang isang negosyo ay tuloy-tuloy yung kanyang lifetime. Hindi ka magtatayo ng negosyo na pang isang linggo lang, di ba? You're not establishing a business for 1 month only. You're not establishing a business for 1 year. Walang ganun, no? Pag nagtayo ka ng negosyo, you assume na may continuity yung negosyo niyan hanggang kailan aabot ng 50 years, 100 years. Tuloy-tuloy siya basta yung business ay profitable at hindi siya mababankrupt. So this is what we call the going concern. Going. Ang isang negosyo. Wala siyang limit. No? Wala siyang deadline. So tuloy-tuloy siya. That is what we call by continuity of a firm over time. Okay, hoping that you are listening. Baka hindi na nakikinig dyan, no? So kasi next meeting, magpapaquiz tayo about this one, no? And yung activity natin about this, I'm going to upload the activity based on my lesson. So, and the quiz is based on this lesson. So you must be listening, no? Or playback this recording. The stakeholders in the firm, isang business, isang company, isang organization, may mga stakeholders sila. Of course, the first stakeholder are the owners. Kumayari, no? Depende pag ang negosyo may sole proprietorship, yung may-ari sa yung stakeholder. Pag ang negosyo may partnership, yung mga partners, sila yung mga owners. Sila yung mga stakeholder ng isang company. Pag corporation naman yung isang business, of course, the stockholder are the investors. Investors, mga stockholders kasi you invested your money sa stocks ng isang company. So you are called the investors. So owners and investors are stakeholders of the company. Now, anong gamit? Pag sinabing stake, no? Stake, meron kang stake, meron kang taya. Meron kang nakataya sa isang business. That is why you are stakeholders. So, anong nakataya? O siyempre yung pera mo, di ba? Yung share mo, yung capital mo sa business, yun ang nakataya. Pag ikaw ay may isang partnership, sabi ng isang partner, sir, sali ka sa aming partnership. Palagay natin yung pera mo, tinanong mo sa magkanong share, invest ka sir ng 50,000 pesos. Sige, ito, 50,000. So, okay, partner ka na. Partner ka na ng aming business. So, pag partner ka, meron mo nakataya. Yung 50,000 mo nakataya. So, yung 50,000 mong taya, definitely, pinasa mo sa partnership kasi gusto mong lumago yung business. Kaya meron kang stake doon. So, you are aware or concerned sa income, paglago, pagkita ng isang negosyo. Kasi nga, pag bumabagsak ng negosyo, yung 50,000 mo, nawawala. Pero pag yung negosyo profitable, yung 50,000 mo lalago after 1 year. Siguro after 1 year, ano na yan? 80,000 na. After 3 years, 110,000 na. Umabot ng 1 million. Yung 50,000. So, meron kang say. Pag nag-invest ka, siyempre, nag-invest ka nga, you are after the growth, you investment. O, ganun din sa mga corporation, di ba? Pag bibili ka ng stock ng isang company, you are an investor. Kung investor ka, so stakeholder ka na rin. Saan, bibili ka ng stock ng San Miguel. Bawat isang stock ay 10 pesos. Sige, sabi mo, sige, bili ako ng 500 peraso ng stock ng San Miguel. 500, magkano isa? 10 pesos. So 500 times 10, that is 5,000. So ang kaya mo sa San Miguel ay 5,000. At sabi mo, dapat lumago yung 5,000 na yan. So, you are the investor. The second stakeholder, empleyado. So may taya, may stake ang mga employees sa isang firm. Why stake? Siyempre, mag-empleyado ka. You are working for the company at dapat ng company lumago. If the company grows, of course, the employees should also grow with the company. If the company is profitable, of course, the salary, the employees should always be growing. So, ikaw may-ari ng company, so take good care of the employees kasi if they are not well taken care of, pagpangit yung pamamalakad ng company sa mga empleyado, they will be transferring, they will not be working well, they will not be productive. So meron silang stake sa company mo. They are the lifeblood of your company. Pag nag-strike mga yan, sabay-sabay, di ba? O hindi pumasok ng sabay-sabay mga yan, o marami nagsi-absent. So the company will be paralyzed. Walang gagawa para sa company. Or they can sabotage, they can destroy the image of the company. So, pag negosyante ka, you should take good care of the employees. The customers, they are the one buying your product. Of course, pag walang bibili, so walang sales ng company. Pag walang sales, puro gastos, so net loss. If you are the owner of the company, so you should not always be after the profit of the company. Your primary concern should be providing solution to the needs of the customers. Their welfare, their satisfaction should be above or supreme over the profit of the company. So unahin natin yung satisfaction ng customers natin. Kahit wala ngang profit, kahit ikaw ay wala nang kitain, ibang tabla lang, your business should still continue as long as you are providing needs, good products, satisfaction sa mga customers ng iyong business. Kasi they can really destroy the company. So, they can transfer to another company. So, if the company is profitable, so the employee should also be given by providing more quality products. Pag kumita, o sige, transfer natin sa product, pagandahin natin yung product, mas innovative, mas satisfied yung mga customers. So we don't shortchange yung mga customers natin. The next stakeholder are the suppliers of the business. Also important sa operation ng company, yung mga suppliers natin. They are the one giving us the raw materials that we are using sa ating mga products or service. If they don't have supplies, if they don't have raw materials to be given to you, they don't have raw material to be used sa production ng iyong company. So, tenga. Parang stop yung production mo. Kasi na-stop yung supply, naubusan ng supply. Or pwedeng the shortage is intentional. Example, sige, ayaw tayong bigyan ng supplier. Bakit daw? Kasi they have not been paid yet. May utang pa pala tayo sa kanila, kaya ayaw magbigay. Ang utang natin sa kanila is umabot ng 500,000. So, the supplier will say, we have to stop supplies until such time that you have paid your debt, your liability. Bayaran niyo muna kami bago mag-supply. Kasi naiipon eh. Pag ganun ka, di ba ganun ka important yung mga suppliers natin? They should be treated as partners ng business. So, how do we treat them? Well, pay them on time. Pag sinabing 30 days ang credit, so pay on time, 30 days. Iba kasi malasubas no? 30 days na, inaabot ng 2 buwan bago bayaran or nag-issue ng cheque. Bouncing check naman yung binigay. Pag ako yung supplier, hindi mo lang magbibigay ng supply sa inyo. Right? Example, the supply is important kasi yung supplier natin, we should also monitor mga suppliers natin kasi you are not sure kung yung mga supplies na binibigay nila sa atin ay maganda. Di ba? Example, yung product mo, maganda, quality for the longest time. Then, suddenly, the supplier will give you mga raw materials that are inferior na gagamitin mo sa production. So, nasira yung credibility, reputation ng company. Although you have the good intention, but the problem is the supplier of the business. Hindi pala sila ethical ng mga suppliers. The distributors, ito yung yung product, yung mga raw materials galing sa suppliers, tapos ginawa sa ating company. Pagkatapos yung product, kung finished goods na yan, i-deliver na sa mga consumer. So, ang distributors natin, example, you don't have own distributor department. Pinapadistribute mo lang to sa ibang mga companies like the wholesaler, the distributors, the retailers, the agents. Kasi pag ikaw ay may mga production na factory, di mga mga wholesaler na magbebenta, hindi ikaw. Yung mga tindahan, mga grocery store sila magbebenta. Papunta sa mga customers mo. Now, the same thing with treating well yung mga suppliers mo. The distributors should also be treated well. Retailers, grocery store. So, treated well din dapat sila. Kasi pag hindi, if you are not treating them well, example, you're not treating well yung mga wholesaler, tapos sisiraan nila ang product mo, hindi na ibibenta product mo. Example, SM is the biggest retailer in the country is SM, di ba? Now, if you are not treating well yung SM or ibang grocery store, yung product mo, ilagay na sa ilalim ng stante, ng shelves. Kung sa pinakilalim yan, ako hindi mabibili yan, hindi makikita ng mga customers yan. But if you have a good partnership with your retailers, maganda yung promote nila yung product mo, ilagay sa magandang pwesto, eye level. Pag sa isang grocery store, eye level yung display ng product, hindi sa ilalim. So maintain good relationship kasi after creating yung product, tapos akala mo you have the best product, you have a quality product. Kaya pagdating sa retailer, sinisirahan ka nila. So hindi naman retailer ang masisira. Pag yung product is spoiled, anong sabihin ng retailer? Ay, babalik po namin sa factory. Sila po gumawa taga-deliver lang kami, taga-benta lang kami. The next stakeholder are the creditors and the banks. So, banks can be your creditor, no? Ang bangko minsan, you deposit cash in the bank, but the banks can also be your creditors. Pag sinabing creditors, sila yung nagpapautang sa atin. And why are the banks, why are the creditors important para sa atin? You don't always have the fund. You don't always have the cash. You don't always have the capital. Minsan, you are drained. Minsan, kaya scarcity. Sometimes, you have scarcity of money. The company, the business has a scarcity of money. Naubusan ng pera. So, where do we go? Pag negosyante ka, hindi lang maliit na cash or capital ang kailangan mo, it can run to millions of pesos. That cannot be sourced out sa isang family members. Pag malakihan, siguro pag 100,000 pwede sa kamag-anak. But if you are talking about millions, you go to the bank as a source of capital. So utang ka sa bangko. Example, 1 million, 5 million, punta ka ng bangko, 5 million pesos. No? Sabi ng bangko, sige, 10%. 10% interest per month. Okay, so, nangutang ka sa bangko, sige, gamitin namin sa aming business and capital, 10 million. Now, pay them properly. Sa bangko, mahigpit yan. Meron kang you have the collateral, you have the guarantor. So, bayaran ng maaga, proper, on time, yung bangko. Kasi may interest yan. Pag sinabing creditor, creditors can be anybody. Creditors can be your friends. Creditors can be your members of the family, your parents, siblings, your fiancé. No? So, bayaran silang on time. Kaya pag personal lang utang ka, you pay them on time para sabi natin, para makaulit. Para maganda yung record mo sa bangko o sa mga creditors. Kasi pag wala ibang pupuntahan. At kung may mga bangko inutangan mo tapos hindi ka good payer, nako sa bangko yan. Para kang mabablacklist. Hindi ka na magkakautang sa ibang mga bangko. The government is also a stakeholder of the firm. Pag negosyante ka, if you have a business, you cannot live without the government. Your company cannot live without the government intervention. Naman is an island, you cannot escape yung mga intervention, rules, regulation ng isang government. It can be local government or national government. Kasi kahit local, you will go to the city hall, for example, to fix some documents, mayor's permit, property taxes, yan. So local government. National, kahit barangay is local government. Diba? Of course, you cannot create a business without the intervention of the barangay. Kasi ngayon, kahit maliit ang negosyo, para tipid ka sa tax or para exempted ka sa tax. Negosyo mo dapat ay i-register sa barangay. That is what we call the BMBE, no? BMBE. Barangay Micro Business Enterprise. Ulitin nyo nga, BMBE, Barangay Micro Business Enterprise. So, ano sabihin yan? Yung mga sari-sari store, bake shop, barber shop, should be registered sa barangay para exempted sa tax. So that is barangay. O meron din City Hall, local government, Quezon City Hall. Siyempre ang Quezon City Hall, they will visit your business, for example, sanitary permit. Di ba may maraming, you have heard those companies, those business na pinasarado ng City Hall kasi hindi sumusunod sa regulation ng City Hall. When it comes to hygiene, fire hazard yung company, walang proper ventilation yung company, walang fire extinguisher, walang CCTV yung company, mga local ordinance that being violated, they can order for the closure of a business. Pag national government naman, then we are talking about the BIR, the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Important kasi the say of the government of the BIR is about taxes, yung tax ng iyong business. That you should be paying your taxes to the national government. Example, you have a business na resto sa Project A. Tapos kumikita ang restaurant mo. Partnership kasi siya, partners. Kumayari tatlo. Tapos yung iyong business kumikita siya ng si 10 million gross sales per year. 10 million. So, malaki. So, taxable. Magbayad ka ng tax. Magkano? 25%. Ulitin nyo nga, 25% ng net income ang tax ng isang partnership at tax ng isang corporation. So, pag corporation, siyempre mas malaki yan. Example ng ating school, BMC, siyempre nagbayad ng tax. Diba? Corporation ng BMC. So, paying taxes sa BIR. Of course, if a business will not pay taxes, or that is a crime. That is tax evasion. Pagtakas, hindi pagbayad ng tax, you evade your taxes, tax evasion. So, that is the BIR. Ano pa? The SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. Pag magtatayo ka ng partnership and corporation, di sa SEC ka pupunta, Securities and Exchange Commission, that is in front of Robinson's Galleria sa may EDSA. Ayun. Ortigas and EDSA. Corner Ortigas and EDSA. That is SEC. So what is the say of SEC? Doon ka magpapa-register na yung company, partnership or corporation, pag magtatayo ka. Ano pa? DTI? Diba? O DTI, yan. Pag mga sole naman, sa DTI naman. Ano pa? DOLE. Department of Labor. Sa anong say ng DOLE? Sa yung company. They will monitor if you're paying the minimum wage. At lahat ng company ngayon, dapat mag-register na sa DOLE. So magkano minimum wage? $6.95 per day. They'll monitor if you are paying. They will monitor if yung mga empleyado mo ay baka may nag-employ ka ng minor, example, resto, meron kang minor. That is child slavery, no? Child labor yan. Sorry, child slavery. That is child labor. If you are employing minor, are you paying overtime pay? Are you paying holiday pay? Do you provide sick leave, vacation leave sa empleyado? Kasi may labor code na dapat sundin ng isang company and pag wala, that is violation. May mga business pinasarado, di ba? Because of violation of labor. public at large, yung society mismo, the the people in your neighborhood, the people in the society, they are also stakeholders. Yung kanina, customers. Dito naman ay lahat, the public, general public, in general, nakapalibot sa'yo. Stakeholder sila. Why? Kinabang din yung kinabang din yung mga public society sa iyong business. Example, pag nagtayo ka ng isang negosyo sa isang lugar na tapos nagtayo ka ng nagtayo ka ng gumagana yung image ng kapag nakikita ka isang lugar na medyo liblib, tapos may nakita kang Jollibee, di ba matutuwa ka? Parang gumanda yung yung pakiramdam pag may nakita kang Jollibee, parang safe. Parang the place is safe if you have seen a fast food or establishment. The people are also benefit. They also benefit from your business. Gumagana ng image di ba? O nagkakaroon ng trabaho yung mga tao. Example, meron kang isang barangay. Nagtayo ka bigla isang factory. So what will happen? Suddenly, the person, the people in the barangay will have jobs. Bigla nagkaroon trabaho. May patrabaho, bigla sila nagkaroon ng pagkakitaan. On the negative, pag meron kang business, then they are also affected pag you are not maintaining proper disposal, waste pollution. So dito yung the people around your company will suffer sa pollution and proper disposal of waste, proper hygiene, di ba? Sila yung mga stakeholder ng isang company. So, sila yung nakikinabang, sila yung apektado ng iyong company. The structure, the core market structure. So I've been mentioning different enumeration, I have mentioned the 3 types of business, the sole proprietorship, the partnership, the corporation. I have mentioned the different types of economic system, like the pure monopoly, the pure capitalist economy, the socialist economy. And ito naman, we have the 4 market structure. Apat na klase ng market structure. Depende sa market structure yung product na iyong produce. So on this slide, the focus of this lecture is on the 4 market structure. Students, you guys will learn the characteristics. Yung apat, ito yung pure competition, the monopolistic competition, and the oligopoly. Ito yung the 4 basic types of market structure that determine the product to be sold sa isang economy. The first one is the pure. So, tawag natin dito, pure or perfect competition. Basahin nyo, guys. Freshmen, read this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, go. Pure or perfect competition is rare in the real world, but the model is important because it helps analyze industries with characteristics similar to pure competition. This model provides a context in which to apply revenue and cost concepts. Example ng pure or perfect competition, yung stock market and agricultural industries. Yung stock market kasi, ang product natin, dalawa. It can be service or it can be a product, tangible or intangible. Ang stock market, pag binenta mo yan, pare-pareho lang yan. Example, if you want to buy stock of San Miguel sa Manila, pareho din yan sa stock pag yung stock mo yan ay binili mo sa Mindanao. So pure competition. Ganun mga product na binibenta sa pure or perfect competition. Or another example ng pure perfect competition, mga agricultural products. So ano ba yung mga agricultural products? Example, mangga, mansanas, bigas. Sila is mga products na binibenta sa isang pure or perfect competition. So, what are the characteristics of a perfect competition? Number one, sa isang perfect competition, maraming nagbibenta. So, pag ang product ay mansanas, mangga, ang dami nagbibenta ng mansanas. Diba, hindi lang isa. Example, punta ka ng palengke. Punta ka dun sa fruit section ng isang palengke, ang dami nagbebenta nun, mangga, mansanas. So many sellers. Okay? Sa aking product dyan, mangga, diba? Pag marami nagbebenta, tapos nag-decide yung isa, example, nagbebenta ng mangga, 20. Tapos nag-decide yung isa na taasan yung presyo ng kanyang mangga. Wala siyang effect doon sa market price. Yung iba, ganun pa rin. Kasi marami kang pagpipilian eh. Pwede silang lumipat. Nagtaas ng 20 pesos ng mangga mo, so lipat ako. Marami pa pagpipilian. So parang walang impact yung pagtaas ng presyo. Number 2 characteristic, homogeneous or standardized product. Each seller's product is identical. So, napakasimple, no? Yung mangga, Project A, ay katulad din ng mangga sa Divisoria. Identical. Hindi pwedeng sabihin bilog yung mangga sa Project A, di ba? Tapos kwadrado yung mangga sa Divisoria. So, pareho lang. Yung bigas sa Ilocos, ay kapareho din ng bigas na binibenta sa Metro Manila. So, homogeneous or identical. Number 3, firms are price takers. Individual firms must accept the market price and can exert no influence on price. As bigas, we're talking about rice. May presong sinasabi pagdating sa bigas. Na pag nagtaas ka ng you cannot influence yung presyo ng bigas. Kasi napakarami yun. Parang sobrang dami nang nagbibenta ng bigas. Pag nagtaas o nagbaba ka ng presyo ng bigas mo, parang wala sang influence or impact doon sa iba pang nagbibenta. Number 4, free entry and exit to significant barriers. So, sa number 4 dito, no? Example, sa inyong barangay, may nakita ka, nagbebenta ng mansanas. Ano sila? 10. Gusto mo rin magbenta ngayon. You are free to sell, to enter the market mansanas. May capital ka, pwede magbenta ng mansanas, walang magigialam sa'yo. Walang harang, walang barrier. Pag gusto mong mag-exit, pwede. Example, 1 month nagbenta ng mansanas, then after 1 month, gusto mong tumigil, pwede. No barriers. Nobody will prevent you from entering or exiting yung industry ng mansanas or bigas. Bakit free yung entry? Mura naman yung puhunan. Meron kang 5,000. Okay, puhunan sa mansanas. So, go! That is perfect for pure competition. Kaya sa pangalawa, the monopoly or pure monopoly. Pure monopoly exists when a single, iba-iba. Pag pure competition, marami ang seller. Pag pure monopoly, isang company, isang firm lang ang sole producer ng product or service. Wala siyang Wala siyang competitor, wala siyang substitute. Example sa Metro Manila, no? Example sa Metro Manila, public utilities. Sa Metro Manila, sinong nagdi-distribute ng electric power? Meralco. Mag-isa lang siya. Sinong nagdi-distribute ng water supply? Maynilad. Diba? Sa ibang province, ganun din. Kanya-kanyang province, may kanya-kanyang distributor ng electricity sa monopoly. If I can tell a story, many years ago, when I was in high school, no, ang provider ng telephone service dati, isa lang. PLDT lang talaga. Wala nang iba. PLDT. So dati, if you want to be installed with telephone lines, mag-aantay ka ng maraming taon at napakamahal. Dati, yung kapanahunan, pag meron kang telephone sa bahay, it means you're wealthy. Status symbol yung telephone dati. Kasi, patagal magpakabit. At the same time, napaka-expensive ang pagpakabit. Kasi dati, isa lang nag-distribute ng telephone. So, no choice, no? Kundi maghintay. So, take it or leave it. Maaya mo. Mataas ang presyo ng PLDT, wala kang magagawa. Ngayon kasi, marami ng telephone lines, di ba? May Smart, may Globe, PLDT, may Bayantel. Characteristic ng isang monopoly. Single seller, isa lang. The firm and industry are synonymous. Pag sinabing telephone, isa lang maisip mo, PLDT. So, synonymous yung service dun sa pangalan ng company. Pag sinabing electricity, isa lang nasa isip mo, Meralco. So, synonymous yung word ng electricity sa Meralco. Unique product, no close substitute for the firm's product. Telephone, o siya lang. The firm is the price maker. Yung company, siyang nagdi-dictate ng presyo. Wala kang magagawa. It has a control over the price. Pag sinabi ng PLDT na ito dati po mga 80s na. Pag sinabi ng PLDT na ang pakabit ng phone ay 20,000, wala kang ibang alternative kundi yung 20,000 lang. They can control the quantity, supply. Dati hindi ka basta-basta pwedeng magpakabit ng telephone. Mag-aantay ka ng example 2 taon kasi nililimit nila yung pagpakabit. Now, entry is black. Hindi lahat ay may freedom to enter the telephone industry. Unang-una, napakamahal ng capital. Para dyan, we're talking about millions. Kapag kahit gusto mo, wala kang capital, so that is a barrier. Yung capital is a barrier to entry. Monopoly. Okay. Recall natin ang una, pure competition. Yung pangalawa, monopoly. Ito, pangatlo, monopolistic competition. Monopolistic competition refers to a market situation with a relatively large number of sellers offering similar but not identical products. Ito ay medyo marami. Pero mas konti sila kaysa yung pure competition kanina. Monopolistic. Characteristic, maraming company. But marami sila pero yung products nila ay pareho pero hindi identical. Example, fast food. Maraming fast food. There's a lot of fast food. A lot of firms fast food. Kaya lang, each has a small percentage of the total market. Marami sila, same product, example, burger. Same product hamburger. Kaya lang, hindi sila identical. Pag sinabing burger, nagbebenta ng McDo ng burger, nagbebenta ng Jollibee ng burger, yung Burger King ay nagbebenta ng burger. So, parehong burger. Pero, hindi sila identical. Isang burger ng Jollibee, ibig sa burger ng McDo. Or clothing stores, di ba? Tapos, punta ng SM. Lahat naman damit binibenta eh. Pero iba yung damit ng bench sa damit ng pension. Variety of the product makes, iba. This model is different from pure competition model. Product kasi is differentiated by style. Samantalang yung kaninang pure competition, yung mansanas para-pareho. Pero dito sa monopolistic, yung burger iba-iba. Depende sa damit iba-iba. Brand name, style, packaging, pricing. Yung mansanas ng taga Divisoria, 10 pesos, ay paano din sa mansanas ng Project 8 pag pure competition. Pero pagdating sa monopolistic, yung damit, parehong damit, pero magkaiba. Because of the branding, because of the location, packaging. Sa monopolistic, compared sa monopoly, madaling pumasok kasi hindi naman ganun kalaki compared sa monopoly ha. So meron is easy entry or exit. Yung pangapat ha, dito natin. Pure competition yung una, monopoly yung pangalawa, monopolistic competition yung pangatlo, ang apat ay oligopoly. Oligopoly exists when few. So, i-differentiate natin. Pag pure competition, sobrang dami. Pag monopoly, isa lang. Pag monopolistic, medyo marami. Pero pag oligopoly, iilan. Oligopoly exists for few large firms producing a homogeneous or differentiated product dominating market. Examples are automobile and gasoline industries. So compared naman sa gumagawa ng kotse, mas konti naman sila, mas ilan naman sila compared sa nagbebenta ng fast food. Mga nagbebenta ng gasoline, bilang mo dito sa Pilipinas. Shell, Petron, Flying Bee, Caltex. Yan. Dito kasi, konti lang sila. Pero large firms. Each must consider its rival as reaction in response to its decisions about prices. So, dito, yung presyo nila parang magkakalapit lang Parang pag nag-decide ang Shell magtaas ng pagbaba ng presyo. Di ba magsusunuran din? Parang they influence yung ibang mga firms sa loob ng isang oligopoly. Standardized or differentiated products. Parang gasolina. Entry is hard. Hindi naman lahat. Mahirap pumasok. Mahirap pumasok sa gasoline industry. Because of a huge capital, huge investment, there is a barrier or there is a hindrance. Diba na pa nagpe-prevent for you to enter? Yun guys sa ating mga market structure. And I know that is the last slide. So I would like to credit Google for the photos used in the presentation. And before we end this recording, once again, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, pa-subscribe, palambing po to support my small channel. And maraming salamat. This has been Dr. Cortez signing off. See you around, people.